In today's episode, I'm going to be answering some of you guys' most asked questions. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome to the Mr. Bubbles channel, where we dish out awesome pressure washing business advice to beginners. And you guys saw from the intro there, guys, I am going to be answering 5 questions that actually come from you guys that are listening and watching the channel. Now, if you remember, what was it, episode 100, we did this same format where I answered 10 questions. For this one, I'm only going to be answering 5. Where I got those questions from, guys, is in the comment section. And I've been thinking about this because you guys have reached out to me a couple of times already and asked me to do another sort of like a video or episode like that one. So here you go. What I'm doing is every month, starting this month in November, I'm going to make at least one video every month where I just answer questions from you guys. And again, guys, those questions are going to come from the comment section. So a lot of you guys leave awesome comments, and I really appreciate that. But from now on, try, if you can, guys, when you leave a comment, ask some kind of question of some kind. And the reason why I say that is, as time goes on, this is where I'm going to pick from the most interesting questions. And then we're always going to do, the top 5 questions. And maybe next month, in the month of December, you're going to be featured because we're going to put up, the information here of the people that posted those questions. So here you go. Question number 1, guys. And again, remember, this is not from emails or anything like that. They actually came from other YouTubers who posted this in the comment section of some video, right? You guys got to remember, I get about something like 60, 70 comments daily on, throughout all the videos. And man, some of the questions that you guys ask, wow, you guys ask some really interesting questions. So let's go ahead, without any more lollygagging, let's go ahead and jump into number 1. So I'll put it up here. Our first question actually comes from at Cody Powers 3749. Of course, I'll put it up here for you guys. The question he asks is, where do you get your work shirts made? Actually, it's so funny. I wanted to put this question up here because this is, guys, the number 1 asked question all throughout the history of the channel, really, since I started my channel not 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. This is the question that I get the most. Almost like, I want to say a couple dozen times a month, I get this question in the comment section or an email. And I'm going to put up here for you guys right here. You'll see it, thinprint.com. That is where we order these shirts from, okay? These shirts are made, I want to say, in Ontario, Canada. I know it's in Canada. I'm not sure the city. But anyway, great company. I would say a good, probably 8 or 9 out of 10 guys in the industry use them because the material, guys, this shirt that you're seeing on camera right here, I want to say is 2 years old from the batch from last year. We're putting in an order for this year coming up for new shirts for all of our technicians out in the field. Guys, not only are these shirts super, super, super breathable, really, really good with the chemical because they are bleach resistant. Like I said, you guys see me working out there with the guys, and, we get a lot of solution on the shirts, and they last a really, really long time. But you know what? The number 1 thing I'm going to say about these shirts, guys, is, I'm big on marketing and branding. And what I've noticed over a 12-year career is that this gets you about 1 to 3 customers a month. If you're out there, whenever you're pumping gas, whenever you're in a grocery store or inside Subway, guys, I can tell you, I could probably sit here for an hour and tell you guys stories of customers that we've gotten through the years just because of our shirt. Like I was at the grocery store one time, somebody took a picture of the shirt behind, the number in my back, called the office, boom, and that's how we got a customer. So, this is an investment in not only your image, but also it is like doing marketing. So I highly recommend that, super professional. And then the other thing that I get asked a lot, which kind of goes hand in hand with the shirt, is my cartoon logo. Now, I'll put that up here for you as well. They're called Warp Tunes. You reach them through Facebook, so you just go on Facebook and you can put that link on there. Reach out to these guys. Maybe your cartoon character is not you. Maybe it's, I've seen it where it's a moose or an alligator or a dog or an animal of some kind. The bottom line is those guys also do logos. So I highly recommend those. Those are the guys that made this Mr. Bubbles cartoon that you see, all over my branding. So I highly recommend that. And then the final thing I'll say about that is this, guys. When you reach out to FinPrint, make sure, okay, this is very important. Make sure that you tell them that Mr. Bubbles sent you. And the reason for that being is they really take care of the, members of the Mr. Bubbles Army. We send a lot of people their way because, guys, getting those shirts, I mean, there's a long line of guys waiting for shirts, and you want to be bumped to the front of the line by mentioning, that you're part of our community because, like I said, we send a lot of people their way, and bam, they're going to take really good care of you. All right? So, finprint.com. Question number 2. We got, let's see here, at Doss Ridge Farm 1848. Doss Ridge Farm 1848. Question is, this is actually a very interesting question, guys. You gotta pay attention on this one. I've never had anyone ask me this. Has anyone experimented with putting 2 downstream injectors, connected together? So, what an interesting question. It's not something I ever thought about doing myself. And I am going to go out on a branch here and say that probably in the history of pressure washing, I'm sure somebody has done that. Now, if you don't know exactly what it is that this question is really saying or that we're talking about, of course, this is a downstream injector, okay? By the way, the one that I use is a 2.3. We get these. I'll put the website up here at pressuretech.com, 2.3 injector. Anyway, so what this person is saying, so you imagine you connect your post pump, you connect this to the machine, and then your pressure line goes here. This is connected to the tube that siphons the chemical. Essentially, what this person is saying is, if you had a system like this, so you had 2 tubes in the solution, you're siphoning double the solution, right? So you can see how this would work just like this. This is what that person is saying. And what I'm going to tell you guys is this. The reason why professionals like myself recommend downstreaming for new guys is because it's safe. Well, let me put it this way. It's safer than soft washing because you're limiting the strength of the solution, right? So I'm going to explain it like this. When you guys have seen all my chemical videos, especially my downstreaming series where we break down and teach you how to make the house mix, you guys know I promote and I advise you guys to use a 50-50 mix, right? So that's a 6% solution. So for example, if you have a 10-gallon bucket, you have 5 gallons of bleach, 5 gallons of water. Okay, that's a 50-50 mix. But here's the deal, guys. By the time that solution works its way through your pump, down your pressure washer line, let's say you're using 200 feet of hose. Do the math on that, guys. That's a lot of water that's coming out of your pump. So that water is further diluting your solution. So now that 6% is down to about 1%. There's a bunch of variables like the length of your hose, the size of your hose. Is a 3/8 hose, a 1/2-inch hose? How much water your pump. I have a 10 GPM. If you're using a 4 GPM, it's less water. So there's a lot of variables that go into it. But here's the bottom line, and here's where where I'm going with that. You want to make sure that when it comes to your chemical injector, you're putting, when we're talking about downstreaming, you're putting 1% on that wall, because stronger than that, you're going to have issues as a new guy. You might have an issue where, you damage the paint or you kill the plants, or you're going to have some kind of damage of some kind because you're so new to the industry. You just don't know how to do house washes properly yet, right? Yet. But so, you want to stick to that solution. You want to stick to that formula because, again, it's safer for the environment, for the plants around you as you learn to become let's say, master of your craft. Now, when you take a downstream injector like this and you double it, you're doubling the solution. Therefore, And now you're putting a 2, maybe even a 2.5% solution on that wall. And that's fine if you are a professional and you've been in the game for a while. That's okay. But that's also overkill for most houses. You don't need that much, right? So if you use a solution that's that strong, you can put yourself in a situation where you damage plants. So that's why we don't recommend that. So we recommend just one injector. Also, you know what? Let me mention this as well. You know, by doubling up your injector, you're also doubling up your, not only the possibility of your liabilities out in the field, but you're also going through a lot more equipment. This equipment is not something that is super cheap. You want to make sure that you take care of it, but, just using one is enough. And then make sure that your solution is correct, because guys, that's all you need. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've done myself, and I'm not saying my company, I'm talking about myself out in the field. I've done over 10,000 homes, always with the same mix. I've never changed it. 50-50 mix, 2.3 injector. And really, guys, that's all you need. Sometimes you'll run into a house where you might need to do one wall twice. But hey, it is what it is. You guys have seen me downstreaming. I've downstreamed some really, really, really nasty houses before that you guys have seen. And it's always the same solution. So in the end, what I recommend is, no, don't use 2, just use 1. That's all you need. Just make sure that your solution is prepped the right way, okay? Question number 3. So moving right along. Question number 3 is at Lost in Time 31. And he asks, do you use a single or double wire hose on your rigs? That's a great question. And I don't know that I've ever mentioned this before. Guys, so here's the deal. I would say that most, if not all, professionals that have been in the game for like 5+ years and that also have multiple rigs do not use the 2-wire hose. And the reason for that being is it's heavy, guys. It's not, when you first pick them both up, you're like, it's not that much heavier. But when you're doing 5-6 jobs a day, guys, wow, by the time you get to your 3rd house, man, your arm starts to hurt a little bit. And the single wire hose is a lot less weight, a lot more malleable, like you can move it. It doesn't tangle up so much on stuff. So highly recommend a 1-wire hose. Now, if you guys at the end of this video go into the comments, the description of this video, I'm going to put up for you the link to where I get mine. Guys, I've used dozens and dozens of hoses throughout the year, pressure washing hose 3/8. And I can say, man, I think I've used pretty much every single brand out there. And for the last 4 or 5 years, all I've been using is this one brand. Highly recommend it. Do not recommend the 200-foot hose. I recommend 2 100-foot hoses. Like, for example, the rigs that you guys see, out in the field of mine, all of our rigs have 2 100-foot hoses. And then they have an extra, what they call a dead reel that just has extra hoses. And that dead reel also has 2 100-foot hoses. So when the hoses break, you're not having to replace the 200-foot hose. You just, grab another 100-foot hose. Super easy. And then here's the final thing I'm going to say about that is this. So they break about even rate. I've seen other channels where they've done comparison between the 2 hoses. And they each bust about 1 or 2 per year. Like us here, that's what we average, 1 hose per year. And what actually breaks the hose, guys, is people driving over your hose. So make sure you pay attention to that when you're out in the field, because there is wire in there. And if like the woman backing up out of the driveway drives over your hose, it bends, that wire in there breaks through the plastic that's in there, through the rubber, I'm sorry. And then, water and SH get in there and bam, the hose breaks within a day or 2 after that. So single wire. And then again, the link to the ones I use is down below. That's a great question, by the way. I really, really like that question. Question number 4, guys, moving right along. Number 4 comes to us from at Cody Powers 3749. Cody, thank you for, leaving a comment and all that. Would you use a surface cleaner to clean decks? Wow, what a great question. Wow. Man, I feel like I could do a separate video on this. Man, if I found the proper deck, I might even do a video and show you guys what happens to wood when you try to surface clean it. The answer here is no. You do not want to use a surface cleaner of any kind. When you guys see me using that technique out in the field, when we're doing decks, crack middle, I am controlling how far away that 40-degree tip is from the wood. In our case here, it's about 6 inches, like this far away. So that way I'm not damaging the wood. I'm not, scratching up the wood or what they call scarring up the wood, right? And so with a surface cleaner, guys, you got to remember that thing's only about half an inch away from the wood, and you're putting way too much pressure. You're going to scar up the wood. It's going to, you guys ever surface clean like a piece of concrete, and then you see those circles on a concrete? Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that, guys. So if you've ever done that, and then the way to fix it is you have to get, like, let's say, the way we do it a lot of times is at the very end. The best way is to just surface clean over it to get rid of those lines, right? When we're talking about concrete. But if you get your white tip and then at the end, just touch it up. But guess what, guys? If you surface clean wood with a surface cleaner, right? With like, let's say, 20-inch surface cleaner, whatever you got. And you leave those lines, you're not going to be able to get them off, those circle lines. And you might run into a situation where, you're going to have to get somebody there to sand the wood down and maybe even paint it. So would not recommend that. As far as I know, I don't know any true professional that does. I would never use surface cleaner on wood, especially if you're new and you don't even know how to surface clean that well. But it's not something I would recommend because, again, most likely what you're going to do is damage the wood. You don't want to use a lot of pressure on wood. You guys see me use pressure on wood, but again, because I am white tipping it, I'm controlling and I'm really far away from the wood. And what I'm really doing when I'm pressure washing is I'm just removing the dead debris, right? We soft wash it with the solution, and then we just remove the solution. We remove the dead debris, like the dead organics that the solution killed. You guys got that? So this is very important because, one of the things about our channel, guys, is you guys not committing the mistakes that, others, including myself, have made. And that can be a big one. It can be a huge liability. And you may even have to paint someone's entire deck or stain it if you mess it up. So do not recommend that. But hey, that is an awesome question, by the way. Thank you very much, Cody. So last question number 5, comes to us from @𝐂𝐄𝐓'𝐒 1972. Yeah, that's how we'll say that. 𝐂𝐄𝐓'𝐒. That's a cool name, 𝐂𝐄𝐓. What is your thought on Comet 40, basically Comet P40, or an AR45? Now, what he's talking about there, guys, is the roof pumps, right? He's talking about the soft washing machines instead of like a little 12-volt pump, the gas ones, right? So here's the deal. I'm perfect actually to talk about this because I have both. And from the get-go, I'm going to tell you this. Both systems, amazing. Like, awesome machines. I can't tell you, like, guys, when I first started soft washing, I was using backpack sprayers. And then from there, I migrated to the 12-volt system. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. But as time went on, I saw a lot of deficiencies, like battery issues, pump issues. I ran into a lot of issues out in the field, guys, to be honest with you, with the 12-volt system. And then 4 years ago, we started using the roof pumps, and I just absolutely never looked back. I will never go back to a 12-volt system. So I'm going to tell you, they're both A++ equipment. But here's the deal. If you were to put like a gun in my head and say, pick one, I'm definitely going with the Comet P40. I have a P40 on one of my trucks, on my main truck. And guys, that machine is 3 years old. Next season, it's going into its 4th year. Never had an issue. All we do is about 2 times a year, we do a complete tune-up on it, change the oil and the spark plugs and the filters and whatnot. But never had a single issue with that machine, guys. Nothing. No issues at all. And then my AR45, again, great machine, but it's 2 years old, and we've already had a handful of issues with it, like parts cracking. We've had to replace a couple parts on it. We've had some issues where we had to even order parts because one of the parts on there went bad. Stupid things. But it might also be that I just got lucky. That, I just got lucky with that comment machine. It could have happened, the other way around. As far as performance goes, they're the same. Like they both put out a tremendous amount of water. You can get easily 40, 50 feet. Guys, you go up to like the gutter edge and you're just blasting away. A typical roof job, like let's say a 2,400 square foot house, like you're doing that in 20, 25 minutes with either machine. Highly recommend either one of those. Again, gun to my head, I would go with the Comet P40. But if you see a great deal on an AR-45, man, pull the trigger on that because that's a great machine as well. Cannot go wrong with either one. And there you have it, guys. I really enjoy doing these kinds of videos because it's more interactive, because it involves you guys. And I love that. Remember, when you post comments, make it some interesting question that maybe you're going to be on a video here coming up soon, because guys, I'm going into next year. I want to do a lot of content that evolves a lot more like you guys. That's why starting next year, for example, I'm going to take Mr. Bubbles on the road and interview, people in the industry, like go out there into the field with some of you guys that are watching and, interview you guys, go out in the field with you guys and put it on video, something that is a lot more interesting. But, man, I'm super excited. And the new year's right around the corner, guys. We just got the election out of the way. Lots of money coming our way in 2025. And that's why I'm doing these videos for you guys, so you guys can get your marketing and your pricing and all of your stuff ready to go for 2025, because success is right around the corner for all of us. Oh, and by the way, guys, make sure you stay tuned, because my very next video is actually going to be a two-parter, because I'm going to do the top 10 things to avoid when it comes to being like an entrepreneur going into 2025. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I mentioned this in a previous video. Make sure you email me. I got the pricing guideline. It's new. We've made some changes to it. The 2025 pricing guideline. So make sure you reach out to me, because guys, number one mistake new people make, they goof up on their pricing. You don't want to do that. That's like stepping on a bear trap. I'm telling you that right now. You need to get your pricing right, and I will help you out with that. I will email you that 2-page PDF. It's a free resource, for you guys, and all you got to do is reach out to me. Now, if you don't know where my email is, in the description of this video, you will find it. I'm super easy to get a hold of. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bubbles out.